Hello Access, my name's Nathan and I'm here with Rob.
Hello.
And we're playing GTA 5. What we're doing now is, earlier on today we put up a video of us flying from one side of the map to the other just to give you a sense of the world, because the world is pretty amazing. And now we're going to drive from one end to the other.
So you can see all the detail.
In a car. Actually, we're going to drive around in a big circle. Rob, while I concentrate on the road, explain where we are and which direction we're heading in.
Well, we're currently in Los Santos, which is obviously the main city based on LA in GTA 5. We're going to head out northwest out of the city.
That's bad driving.
Up into the countryside, around Mount Chiliad, through Blaine County. We're going to loop around the top and drive back down into Los Santos.
We reckon we can do it in 15 minutes. I've only just, for this reason, we have found a fast car, and I've only just started driving it. So excuse my.
There's the excuses.
My oversteering.
Well, what do you make of the world? Because we've been to LA a few times.
Yes, we've been lucky enough to.
It looks incredible.
It's
it looks
like
so
this.
authentic.
It's like this. And the weird thing is, LA is huge and sprawling, and obviously the game isn't one-to-one with real life geography, but it's like I remember LA. You go from a cab from one point to the other, and all of the landmarks, you forget the bits in the middle, and that's what this map is.
And how much does it add to the game?
It's for me, it's honestly the best. I mean, I love the missions and the characters, and the new combat is incredible, and I've always loved driving around, but just the world and how it looks and the way they capture the feel of different areas, and they're all so distinctive and so much like LA. This is like going somewhere I have been before lots of times. It's unbelievable. It's my favourite thing. It's my favourite thing about every GTA, and especially this one.
Do you know what my favourite thing is so far? The way the paint looks on the road.
Yeah,
the cracked
totally.
Paint
Yeah.
And the kind of yellowy, hazy fog.
And as we get out onto the freeway in a sec, whoa, that man's probably
that's
fine.
Santa Monica Pier you're just driving past.
Let me. I'm not very good at doing it. Yeah, there it is. There we go. I knew I was going to crash. At least I made it a slow crash. I need to be quick as well. So yeah. So what we didn't say was we reckon we can do this in 15 minutes. I say we. Hello. Did you see me not crashing then?
That was very good. I was very impressed.
Thank you.
So outside of Los Santos, then what is there? I know there's countryside basically.
Yes.
But are there other little towns populating that countryside? I know there's a big mountain in it. What else can you do?
There's a big lake. You can fly. So basically, within the city's about a quarter.
In a plane, I imagine.
Or a helicopter. The city takes up about a quarter of the map, maybe a third, and it's like incredibly dense. There's there were bits of San Andreas on the PS2 game, which there were 3 cities. And obviously, that's more cities, but there wasn't the kind of complexity and the kind of activity level that there is in this Los Santos. And past that, I've spent most of my time, I've probably played the game for 15 or 20 hours, and I've spent most of the time in the city, and I've barely touched what the city has to offer.
Okay.
And so outside that, I've spent a bit of time in the kind of over the Vinewood Hills, kind of over the Vinewood sign. It gets out into the desert, and I spent some time in there, mostly doing a couple of flying missions. And shooting coyotes. But
why?
I had to. It was peer pressure. You'll see when you play the game. And I'm not dropping any spoilers whatsoever because I want people to enjoy it for themselves. Yes. But each town has kind of got a distinct personality. And we will, hopefully, once we get around to the checkpoint, we'll just take a diversion off the road and we can kind of check one of them out.
Because in San Andreas, quite a lot of the towns were outside. They didn't. That was
all right. Because we've got 15 minutes.
They didn't have their own kind of character, did they? Really?
It felt a lot like they were filling space. Yeah. Some of them.
There's Mount Chiliad in the distance. Huge.
I love this bridge. I don't know what it's called. My driving is excellent.
Yeah, it's very good. Wow, that road surface there.
This just reminds me of the freeways. Yeah, you get off a plane and you're heading to your hotel, and there's just that.
So have you found yourself mainly going through the story missions, or have you been mucking about?
Do you know, normally I am just like a story missions guy, like I just laser through it, but the way that the story missions and the extra missions kind of blend in, they seem completely natural to each of the individual characters. There's 3 lead characters, and story missions or things that are related to the story become the side missions. Like there is a reason, for instance, that Michael does yoga, which just seemed completely natural at that point in the story, which I happened to do that mission. So they didn't really feel like insane diversions, and yet at the same time, obviously, there's still rampages and other things which you kind of go, okay,
watch the bikes,
the
think bike,
the sensible hat has been taken off and the game's just gone crackers. But yeah, so I've done mostly story missions, but jumping between the 3 characters, which you can do. After a certain point, you can do it whenever you like.
What I like I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to the country, put some nice music on the radio, and just watch the sunset from a really nice rural mountain top.
That's lovely, Rob. That's
And then,
unlike you. I was going to say.
and then I'm going to do that other thing that I do in Grand Theft Auto games.
So the thing you did in San Andreas was you used to take taxis, paint them pink.
Yeah. Let me tell this story.
Okay. I think that's probably for the best.
It was the pink taxi of death.
Right.
And I had my pink taxi, and I would go around and I'd collect a fare.
Right.
And they'd get in the back of the taxi.
And they'd be excited about where they were going.
Yeah. Take me to Burger Shot or wherever they'd want to go, and I'd flip a coin. If the coin was heads,
this is the thing that makes it truly chilling, is the coin toss.
I would take them to Burger Shop, but if the coin was tails, then we'd be driving off to a remote location where there were no police.
You're like the guy from No Country. That's what I like. What was the most you've ever lost on a coin toss? This is one of the towns, which I'm going to go through quite quickly, and then you can carry on your story, which is heading to I think probably legally actionable conclusion.
Yeah, I think people can kind of guess.
So what would happen? Where would you take them?
Just any kind of, with the woodland surrounding countryside, and I'd introduce them to Mr. Chainsaw.
Mr. Chainsaw. And then what's the coup de grace? Look at this. There we go.
Willies. That's why I said Willies.
It did.
The coup de grace was probably my photo album.
And so you would take pictures of
the before and after. They get out of the taxi. Why am I in the country? And that would be one photo.
This is the sort of ledger.
And the next photo would be post Chainsaw.
That's the kind of thing you read about in like FBI memoirs. And then we found the ledger full of his books. The thing about Willies, I mean, it wears you down, the kind of the ridiculous childish humour, because there's stuff like the radio stations which we were talking about before.
Yeah, I love the radio stations. Are they clever and funny and sharp?
Yeah, and like the thing is, if you've ever been to America, the style of them, the way that they're presented, and the little jingles and stuff, they sound exactly like American radio stations, but the things they're saying are preposterous and hilarious. And it's like properly good satire, and then you have just a barrage of willies, and that kind of level of just awful.
Look at the
puns.
rock, just the lovely mountains. It's amazing, this scenery.
I guess
it looks great.
And what we wanted to do with this driving video was show, from the air, it's as in real life, Rob.
We're kind of looping back into Los Santos now, so we've done like a big loop all around the map.
Yes.
Which is, it's been quite quick.
And earlier on, it took a couple of minutes in the plane, and a couple of people kind of commented and said, doesn't seem to be a lot in the world. And I hope that kind of this video can show that even just driving along. I remember again driving along the highway in San Andreas on PS2. That's terrible. That is, if I was playing this game not fast, I would teach that man a lesson.
You get out your car and have a word.
I would have a strong word.
But you've driven on like the big busy freeway roads around the outside of the map, and inside the map there are lots of.
Yeah, this is the least
it.
detailed route that we could take, because we've been trying to do it fast. But yeah, the point just being that on the ground there's like this whole world of stuff.
Yeah.
Over there to the right, that little flash on the mini map that you saw, there are kind of a series of procedural activities and missions which just pop up as you're riding around the world, a lot like in something that the game's really taken from Red Dead Redemption, which I think is a good thing, because it makes what is a huge map kind of full of activities and stuff to do. And there's also the Strangers and Freaks, the kind of the question mark missions, which again come straight from Red Dead.
How does it actually play out in combat then? Because the cover system wasn't the best in GTA 4.
The shooting and things, I really like it. It's kind of, it feels, I've gone wrong there. It feels a lot like Max Payne, Red Dead, but with Max Payne sophistication. I really like the shooting, and it very quickly gives you lots of guns, which makes it fun. So yeah, they're not in short supply. I wonder if that man's going to do me for speeding. No, apparently this is fine. No,
you get done for speeding in the game.
Great. I don't think so, unless you're hitting someone while you're going very fast and their guts go all over you. I'm bouncing, Rob.
That was exciting, wasn't
This
it?
is bad.
Did you do that on purpose?
No, I didn't. No. This is the wind farm, which is just outside of town. So we're back. The mountain ridge there is the ridge, like the other side of the Vinewood Hills, with the Vinewood sign and the Griffiths Observatory.
It looks exactly like that kind of weird brown, dead, grassy hillside.
the desert mountain tops.
Yeah. It looks so authentic. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. How many minutes have we been so far? What's the time?
We've been about 10 minutes.
I'm going to make this easy unless I have a crash, which doesn't seem likely at all from the way I've been driving so far. I don't know which way to go.
You very nearly crashed then. So we should start to see Los Santos coming into view quite soon.
Unless I've gone the wrong way, again, which I can't stress enough, is completely viable.
So possibly now heading back into the country. No, we are heading
I'm going
south.
too
I'm looking
fast.
at the compass. We are heading south. You're going really fast.
Going
Might
too
wanna
fast.
control that a bit.
I don't want to.
I can see this video is going to end messily, isn't it? Rather than you
What are you
triumphantly
talking
returning.
Our videos always end very peacefully.
And there's wildlife in the game as well. There are sharks I saw
I think
earlier.
Yeah, the shark, yeah. But my favourite moment so far in the game was I had ridden up into the Vinewood Hills to escape capture for a minor misdemeanor. And I was coming back down again. This is definitely a good idea. I was coming back down again.
Do it again here.
I'm going to go this way.
There's downtown.
Oh, wow.
There it comes. And you're going to come off the freeway here
Yeah.
and exit into downtown. Look at that view. That view is spectacular.
Sorry, yeah, so I was up in these hills behind us, and I had evaded capture. And as I was coming down, I was like on a dirt track, and there was only enough room for one car, and this, I don't know if it's I guess it's a deer, jumped out of the kind of the brush, and went in front of me and was spooked by my lights, and just started running. And I was
It was spooked, was it? It was actually spooked
and
in the game.
It started to run forwards, and I was heading down towards the freeway, like it was nighttime, and so it kept on like running across my lights, and in the end, because I was heading down to the freeway down the bottom of the hill, it was just running alongside me, and I thought, what other game can I play where just randomly a deer jumps in front of me, and we had like a dance of paths on the way down to the highway, just me and this deer.
So in a game full of a huge detailed world full of drug dealers and guns.
Exactly,
and
it's always those
that
small
moment where
it's always
the deer
those small
jumps out in
things.
front of you that you remember the most.
Exactly. So I've made it back. So I'm going to drive down through the city a bit more, just to give people a bit more of a sense of how packed.
It's just the city
and
as well.
alive
There's
it
loads
feels.
of different areas within the city. It's not just,
It has all
the-
it's condensed, but it has all the same areas you expect from Los Angeles.
there's a huge variety of it in it, like the glamour of Hollywood, or Vinewood rather, as it is in Los Santos. The industrialization of downtown, and then
I'm
the
gonna come off at
kind
this
of-
exit. That's going to be.
What
fun.
is that man hanging down off a sign that you just drove underneath?
I don't know. I can't head backwards. People
It
on the
will
video can
remain
go
a
and check.
mystery. What on earth was that?
That was bad. He's angry. with me.
He's just thrust his fist out. At
I
you.
think it's
That was
probably the
great.
least I deserved. And here we are, back in town, heading up towards the hills.
That kind of the squat, angular flatness of the buildings. They've just nailed it.
And even the way that one neighbourhood kind of changes and bleeds into the next, and
Yeah.
the way that the roads and the trees and the buildings, the architecture in LA is crazy, and the way it changes from one neighbourhood to the next. They've got it. And even though I'm not talking about it at the moment, the story and the missions are, I think it's truly solved GTA's problems, which have always been being in this world has been super exciting. Sometimes the action doesn't quite live up to the ambition of the world, and this time it just does, and it's tied together with the story in a way
It's
which
good. There's more variety in it this time.
yeah
More,
yeah
less
definitely.
of just drive here, shoot a man, and evade the police, and escape.
It always feels like what you're doing is pertinent to your story, so it just gives it a purpose. You're still driving and shooting people, Rob. I don't know.
I wouldn't want to be doing anything else.
So I'm going to drive to Michael's safe house, which I didn't think I was going to be able to find without setting a waypoint, but I'm going to be able to
Why do you know your way off by heart around here?
because I'm amazing. No, because I've seen it on the map.
You're going to park this in his garage.
Yeah, unless I set it on fire first. That was my worst corner. Okay, and here we are.
Cool. Well, that was Los Santos and surrounding countryside, as expertly shown to you by Nathan's expert driving skills. If you want to see more Grand Theft Auto 5 videos, we're going to have loads on the channel all this week. It is Grand Theft Auto 5 week, so make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of them.